one thing I think is essential to my gear and music philosophy is with Grave Girls, it's like when it's needed, you use it.
Hi, it's Grave Girls. I'm Charlie.
I'm Danielle.
And it's Valentine's Day.
It is.
So, I mean...
It's Valentine's
Day.
Yeah. Happy Valentine to all the lovely loves.
Yeah. So, of course, we're going to talk about gear.
Yep.
That's the thing that makes sense.
Of course. What else would make sense?
I mean... so... We're obviously at my desk. Danielle's desk is over there, so that's why it's, a bit bare over on one side. But yeah, so let's talk about gear. So what do you use to make music?
Well, for Grave Girls, I mainly will sing and sometimes play guitar, sometimes play keyboard, sometimes modulate, which is like basically like modulation would be like an example of like work that like a DJ would do, or like someone in like doing like electronic music. So there's a mixture of like electronic and other performance elements in our music.
For sure.
And then, like, as far as creating, I guess I mostly work in... So I record all the music here at this studio.
What's the name of the studio?
It's the Wizard Productions.
It's a really cool studio.
And I run this bitch. So basically... I will use like sequencers and a myriad of effects processes to achieve the sounds I want. I design like all the sounds that we do like in the program, like I don't use anything. Like I'm not gonna take like even my piano or the piano we work with in Ableton live. I'm adding like all sorts of stuff to it and messing with it and turning it into whatever I want to. So that's kind of what I use, I guess, to create. And Pro Tools allows me to have 64 tracks, so the possibilities are basically endless in that way.
I like it.
Yeah, and so you use Ableton Live.
I do. I use Ableton, in which I use an APC 64.
What's the 64 stand for? The amount of buttons?
Yes, actually. There's like 64 buttons right here.
Nice.
It's really
so how many
handy.
buttons do you have total?
In my entire setup?
Yeah.
Well, so I also have an APC 40, so that's a APC 104, and then I also have an APC Mini, which is basically the same thing, just smaller. So about 144 of these buttons with esoteric sliders and dials and
push buttons
and various other contraptions, and I use them I use this one for Ableton on stage, but I use APC 40, like the original big chunky one. It has its own plug-in. It's great. I use that to run Resolume,
which is a visual program.
It lets me live mix video effects. And then I use the APC Mini for synesthesia, which is another visual program.
It's like if you turn math into things that make you go, ooh, colors.
And so I mix that in with the video content that we create here. And you know.
Yeah, so the hallmark of Grave Girls as a live band is we do run a lot of electronic stuff and, you know, like tracks, which I don't think is like really a problem. Like, if it offends you, get a new job, basically. But you know, find a new career path if it bothers you. but because some people get real, some musicians will be like, well, you're using drum tracks, I could be the drummer. It's like, but would you though, or are you gonna, you know? So
Right.
so it actually explodes my possibilities working with just my own sounds, because every unhinged creative idea that I come across, I'm able to manifest if I want to.
Right. Well,
Which
with that, like, I have my violin tied into its own copy of
yes.
synesthesia. So when I play the violin, I can switch it over to have like all of the visuals on screen being directly affected by how I'm playing my violin. I don't know what that is. That's weird. Who does that?
I know Charlie does that.
Charlie does that.
So yeah, Charlie also plays violin in Grave Girls at times, like when it's needed. That's the one thing I think is essential to my gear and music philosophy is with Grave Girls, it's like when it's needed, you use it.
And
you don't just use it because you're just, you know, it's not like, well, I'm the guitar player, so I'm gonna play with the guitar. It's like when it's needed. It's like, okay, well, does the song warrant having guitar at all? And so I guess like freeing myself up in that way just kind of does feel like it feels like a flex a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean like I'm a VJ. Not really DJ's not really the right word. I don't know. I
mean, you run.
I run Ableton. Like I'm not mixing tracks with like, you know, turntables. I'm combining things in Ableton, pressing buttons and using that to cue things off. And I don't know exactly what I call it.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. But I'm also doing visuals, like live mixing, very hands-on with like visual content at the same time, and then when needed I will also back up sing, and when needed I will play a violin. So
yeah, it's almost like Grave Girls is almost like a movie with performances.
Oh yeah, and like you do so many things.
Oh,
what if you brought all of the instruments that you've used in just Grave Girls? What would that entail? How many?
What have I used in Grave Girls? Let's see. So our friend Brendan did some bass for us on this awesome bass, but I've also done bass.
It's a fretless bass. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, fretless bass. And I've done a lot of bass for Grave Girls, guitar obviously, keyboard, my Yamaha keyboard, my other Yamaha keyboard, the vintage, like, what is it?
Like 84, isn't it?
It's like 19. It's like the early 80s. Yeah. And it's called the PS something, I think.
PS9?
No. PS something.
Something.
Yeah, and then I use a controller that controls Ableton as well. So Charlie's controlling Ableton. I have another controller that controls my parts on Ableton. Let's see, mandolin, banjo, a lot more banjo than you would think. A lot of the lead material is actually banjo and not guitar, depending on the song. Ukulele
in there.
I mean, and if you count all the virtual instruments, there's a whole lot too, but all those are done on the controller. And virtual instruments are like instruments inside of Ableton and the computer that I can manipulate at will, like any other instrument. And so with Grave Girls, I think of our whole setup as an instrument as well, because we're running into our preamp from Ableton and everything runs through that. So the front of house person just gets 2 cables and it's like, here's our sound, 2 cables. And, you know, a lot of people appreciate that, I guess, but for its simplicity on their end. But it kind of makes things more complicated for us in a good way, though, because being able to control your sound the way you want to. You know, like in the future, I might get like a front of house person to work for Grave Girls, but that's, you know, we'll need another 10,000 views before then.
Yeah. I want more 10,000. I want 10,000 views.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. How many is that?
That's a lot.
It's 10. Would you say 10 million?
It might be. I think it is.
Something like that.
I don't know. I'm not good at like on the fly math. Even
no, she's good at the visual math and the computer math, just not on the fly.
Yeah.
I'm the one who flies. Oh, but I'm not good at on the fly math either. I don't know.
What would you say you are good at?
I think I'm a good singer. I taught myself to sing music at a young age. And just kind of always had a knack for like finding key, pitch, and tone. Mm-hmm. And I'm good at mimicking. I'm good at impressions. I'm good at guitar. Thank you. I just kind of, it's kind of like a language to me. Like if you can make the noise with your mouth, I can probably do it on the instrument. Mm-hmm. You know. I'm good at video editing.
She's very good at video editing.
Don't hold this one against me.
Yeah, we don't really do a lot of editing on these.
No, we just try to keep it chill, you know?
Yeah. But, you know, with actual music videos, we...
Yeah, I have done the editing for the music videos. Mm-hmm. So, and can we...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's... channel-wide, it's like 11.1 thousand right now. Views in the past month.
Oh, I love that.
So
that's good for us. Yeah. Fist bump on Valentine's Day. Give me a kiss. All right, happy Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
That's the Grave Girls Gear Talk. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Finn.